For the first section where you're just asked to simplify a radical expression, I'm just going to use this as your example. If it's not a perfect square, you're going to find the perfect square and the non-perfect partner you can divide by 12. So that's what you're going to do for all of these. Be careful, one of these is a perfect square, so it's a lot easier than you might think. And then for the next section, you're just adding or subtracting. Remember, the key here is that you're going to look for your like terms. Like terms for radicals are going to have the exact same number under the radical symbol. So all of these have like terms within the problem. So if we look at example 5, they both have a square root of 7. So that means I can add the outside numbers to get 10. And I'm going to keep whatever is underneath the radical exactly the same. And that's all you've got to do for this section. The next section is when you are multiplying radicals. This time you don't need like terms. The first thing you're going to want to do is take whatever is on the outside and multiply those two numbers, and then whatever is the inside, multiply those. So this example does not have any outside numbers, so we don't have to worry about that, but does have two things underneath the radical symbol. So I'm going to multiply them together, and for this example I'd get square root of 32. Do not stop there. Once you combine them, you need to see if you can simplify like we did in this first section. So you're going to find the biggest perfect square you can divide by 32. 4 works, but it's not the biggest perfect square. 16 would be the biggest perfect square you can divide by 32. So the square root of 16 is 4, and I'm going to keep the square root of 2 in my answer. So that's your answer for that one. Next page is going to ask you to simplify radical fractions. And remember, the goal is to get the square root symbol out of the bottom. So I'm going to do example 12 with you. So our first step is to get rid of this square root on the bottom. So in order to do that, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by that bottom number. So I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 10. So the square root of 10 times the square root of 10 is the square root of 100, which just leaves us with 10. Okay? And that helped us reach our goal. We don't want that square root on the bottom, and we don't have that anymore. Now we look at the top, we have an outside number multiplied by a radical. Remember, this is all multiplication. So I can't multiply an outside and an inside number, so I'm just going to keep it as 4 square root of 10. I'm just going to rewrite it together. So now, you always want to see if there's anything you can simplify. Underneath my square root, I have the square root of 10. There's no perfect square I can divide by 10, so I'm going to leave that alone. But I do see that I have a fraction of 4 over 10. If I asked you to simplify the fraction 4 over 10, you'd figure out what you can divide by both of those numbers. So I can divide 2 from both of these. So the square root, oops, mine got big for some reason. We'll change that. I don't know how. That's hilarious. We're just going to be writing big now, I guess. So we have if we divide 4 by 2, we'd get 2. And if we divide 10 by 2, we'd get 5. So my final answer is going to be 2 over 5. It's so funny that it's big. I don't get it. And that would be square root of 10. So this would be your final answer. All right, last section, we have our variables with exponents. So what you're going to do is you're going to first ask yourself if it's an even number. And in this case, we do have an even number. So I'm not going to do the perfect square. I know 16 is a perfect square, but we are going to just split it in half. So if it's even, we just split it in half. I'll let you guys try that one. I'm going to walk you through how to do an odd number. So we'll do number 16 together. So we have 21 is not even. So what we're going to need to do is take it down to the next even number, which would be 20. And in order to get to 21, we're going to need one more. So I have 20 plus 1 will give me that 21. But now I have an even number. So I can now split this in half. So my answer would be x to the 10th on the outside, because that was even. And then I'm going to keep the extra one underneath the radical symbol because I can't simplify the square root of x to the first. So this would be my answer. This is what you're going to see whenever you have an odd number. If it's a nice even number, it's going to be one step. You're just splitting it in half. Okay, good luck.